Before we get started into the video review, could you give our audience a quick tutorial on the combo block?
Yeah, so when you are working together, so the whole point of zone blocking is that the opportunity happens that you get to work together. You don't get solo blocks. So, for example, a center and guard may work together to block a defensive lineman to a linebacker, so on and so forth. So it allows the offense a better chance to get movement at the line of scrimmage because there's 4 hands and 4 feet on somebody as opposed to 2 and 2. So usually, depending, like, for example, wide zone, it's going to stretch a little wider. So basically, it's each lineman is in charge of the gap to the play side. So let's say we're going to the left, right? Every O lineman is going to be in charge of the gap to the left side. So just because, let's say, for example, I'm a guard and I have a guy head up on me and the play is going to the left and I have a center to my right. That center is coming to help me, and that center is in charge of that gap beside him, that A gap. I'm in charge of that B gap. But we're going to work together until something attacks our gaps. So let's say that guy's head up on me. Well, that center is going to come help me block this guy until, let's say, that linebacker comes into my B gap. Well, that linebacker comes into my B gap, that means that guy who's head up on me is going to try to fold back into A. So the thing you need to understand about football and defense is it's all gap sound. So if something leaves a gap, something's coming to a gap and vice versa. So if I'm that guard and I'm working that guy together and all of a sudden I see that linebacker fly over into my B gap, that means the center should be taking over that guard, that defensive tackle, and now you work 2 for 2. But let's say, for example, that guy who's head up on me decides he wants to go and he wants to push himself to the outside to my B gap, and that linebacker tries to fit between the center and I. The center's in charge of that linebacker, and I'm in charge of that defensive tackle. So it's all based on what the defense does to you.
Well, that explains a lot. When I would watch the team last season and I'd see, how come we have a situation where 2 offensive linemen are blocking one guy and another guy is coming in free? This explains it. It's not that they messed up the communication to start. It was after they engaged the defender that there was the communication breakdown.
100%.
Which now leads to the next question is, what is the thing that coaches can do? Is this really just about repetition? Is it better communication? And what can the coaches do to help out the situation?
Yeah, I think the majority of it is communication. It's a feel, it's chemistry. For us, my football team, we work combos probably 20 minutes every day, all day. It's what we do. And it just goes back to getting a feel for how that guy feels when he's coming to knock me off, or how fast this guy gets there, what kind of steps do I need to take here? I think really it's a continuity thing up front. So, when you have the same O lineman working the same positions every game, you get a feel, right? Offensive line is an extremely technical position. And not only that, it is an extremely relationship-driven position, because the guys beside you are what make you who you are. And I think that, when you go through offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator, it's kind of hard to get into that rhythm and that chemistry of each other. And I'm hoping that maybe another year under the same OC, which would be the first time in quite a while Penn State's had, it'll help, and it'll bring some continuity to that up front